Meet two early years advisors with a passion and a purpose to take the learning to the children and to take the fun outdoors. Part of Sue and Sheila's role as advisors is to visit early years settings to work with the staff. One such setting is St John's First School in Kidderminster, where they're familiar faces, and where Sue has come today to help with some outdoor activities.
There are a variety of ways that children can be playing outdoors, and I think all of them are valid, but I think there should be a broad balance of activity.
There isn't any area of the curriculum that you can't take from the inside into the outdoors. And children can transfer skills that they've learnt indoors, outdoors, and vice versa. They happen in a different context, but they are making sure that those skills are embedded.
Because we're not really talking about taking the painting table outside, are we?
No.
We're talking about having a large, maybe a long wallpaper table outside and doing large painting outside, something that perhaps you couldn't do inside. So that's the way that we're talking about transferring skills.
Yes.
On the island. Yeah.
Children who are only ever kept in very safe places are not the ones who are able to solve problems for themselves. Children need to have a certain amount of risk-taking, be allowed to take risks, because otherwise they know when they are in situations that are perhaps dangerous, they will know how to get out of them.
And also to be responsible for themselves as well. You're allowing them to be outside with potentially risky things to use, and they need to be, you need to say to them, I'm asking you to be responsible with this, and they will then become responsible.
Some of the class will be using the outdoor environment for a more directed activity, while Sue will be providing an opportunity for the others to explore real materials.
I am King Bear. I live on Bear Island. I want all the bears with numbers on one.
The children are about to embark on a journey to Bear Island, using a story as their starting point.
I'm afraid that you've got to go past lots of dangerous things to get to the island. Mrs. Morel will help you. Tell her what you might see on the way and what you'll take with you. I must go now and have my breakfast. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.
We've got to go on an adventure all the way to Bear Island.
I think it's a bit of a selling job at the moment, because if you're inside in a nice warm classroom or setting or church hall, then it sometimes is quite an effort of organisation in order to be able to let children be outside. So I think first of all the mindset, you have to change the mindset, I think, of some adults to be able to have the door open, for instance, when it's cold outside is quite difficult. But I think it's so exciting for children to be outside.
Right. Can you look at me then, not at King Bear? You're going to see him in a minute.
How exciting if you're having a story inside, group of children and the practitioner inside, and then to be able to take that story outside, for the children to be part of that story, maybe following a trail that you've already set up.
Put your wings out. Can you see Sue? She's waving at you. Yeah. And you're going to fly to Bear Island. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bye! 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 Right.
While some children fly off to Bear Island to explore what to do with Sue's real materials, the others begin a journey of their own that's been constructed for them.
Do you think you can manage to crawl through there?
Yeah.
Off you go, Kira.
The children can experience the story, and you can bring into that all kinds of the areas of learning, can't you? I mean, to be able to do counting and number work as part of the story, I think is a much more meaningful way. And they will remember that story much better than if they just were told it.
Then we couldn't get out.
I know, I can't get through there.
I can't get out.
Right, well done. Give yourselves a clap. You've got through the first bit.
We need to be able to take calculated risks, not risks with children, but I think if we take all the risk away from children, how are they ever going to learn to cope when they are meet situations where they don't always know the right answer?
Oh, go on then. Good girl. Then come and stand by me then. Keep going. Good boy, George. Well done. Well done.
I jumped down. I jumped down. Look at the hill. I jumped down.
What do you think this is then?
Oh.
We can't jump over it. Somebody
We have
just
to
said-
go in it.
We can't because we don't know how deep it is. We've got to imagine that it's really, really deep. So how can we get over it? Is there anything we could use anywhere?
Ladder.
When children are outside, obviously in the summer it's lovely, but you need to talk about sun protection and involve parents in that. And also in the winter, when it's cold, children still need to be going outside. They need to experience the cold weather. It's no good saying, oh, it's cold. They need to know what being cold means. So you provide them, make sure that the children have got warm clothes to put on. And then the children rarely will say, I'm cold, or they will rarely complain if they're outside in the rain. How exciting for children to be outside with a mac on and wellies and warm gloves and be able to be in the rain.
Don't fall in. Keep on the rungs. Are you gonna crawl then?
Go, you go to work.
Oh, she's gonna walk. Good girl. Well done.
It's important that you talk with parents if you are
And
going to be
explain why you're
if you're
doing
going to be
it.
taking children outside, because you can sometimes, as a practitioner, you sometimes have to deal with the situation of, you know, oh, my child's come home and they're wet and muddy, or they've got dirty socks today, you know, and I don't want them going out and being dirty, or they get cold. And I think that's when you, as a practitioner, should have clothing for the children.
And should explain
And
why
should
it's
explain,
important.
yeah. Because then every parent will be glad that their children are being outside. You can't beat that, can you?
Well done. Oh, that was the hard bit.
It's also the smell outside.
Yeah, the smell.
And I think very often we spend our lives in homogenised classrooms and we don't then experience smells. And all our memories are laid down with smells. Our smell area is very close to our memory area in our brain. And we've all got memories that are triggered by smells.
While the hazardous journey to Bear Island continues, Sue has opened up her bag to reveal those real materials.
Oh, what have we got?
What do you
Now then,
got?
what's this?
I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a bus.
Do you know, I think that's a really good idea.
You need to risk assess all the things you take outside for children, but you can't completely take the risk out of it. Children can do things with a rope, but they ought to be able to experiment. And what the adult does is keep a watchful eye. But you cannot be there all the time when children are doing things. You behave like a reasonable parent would. And you've got to give children the opportunities to experiment and to see the limits of the resources that you've got.
Often children will mirror the activity that they're having inside, that they're doing inside, with doing it again outside, perhaps in a larger way. An absolutely super thing to do is to have a large pumpkin inside and perhaps a pile of golf tees and with a small hammer. Yeah. And the children will hammer the golf tees into the pumpkin. And the concentration and it's an exciting activity to do. And then you might provide some sticks and some mallets outside and they will go and do the same activity outside. And I think it's exciting and they'll concentrate on that.
If children only ever use plastic, they don't get a feeling here of building up their muscles, which is so necessary for writing. So if you've got a hammer and you're able to use it and control it, you're building up the muscles here. And if you've got real bricks, children can learn the weight of them, and that's so important before they ever start to write using their wrists.
Why do we have to be careful with them?
We don't hit them like hammers.
Yeah. And what else about hammers?
Don't
What else
hurt
could you
ourselves.
do? You could hurt yourselves, or
I
you
found
could
another one.
hurt somebody else. And this is where the sensitive adult is really, really important, because you know your adult needs to be there, but not necessarily interfering.
Or asking inane questions.
Yeah, what are you doing that for? You know, why are you doing it? It's just sensitively intervene when you think maybe the child needs to move on or wants something else. So I think it's really important. Things like this, you know, bits of chain, have them so that if a child wants to use them imaginatively as water, for instance, in a waterfall, then that's super, isn't it? I mean, look at that.
Well, they
That's
can
lovely, isn't it?
wrap them round these, can't they? I've seen children doing that
Yeah.
before.
As a practitioner, you might have an idea of what you'd like the children to make with the materials. Often it doesn't work because they spy something that they really want to use, and it ends up as a waterfall, it ends up as maybe a bridge, and you need to go with that and follow their ideas. You know, it's all about expectations, isn't it, really?
Of course it is. You teach children how to use them,
Yes,
don't you?
you do. And you do quite a lot of role modelling. For instance, when you were using the stick and the mallet, you know, you would first of all, as an adult, be playing with the children, and you would demonstrate and talk about the safety aspect. And I think that's really, really important. Yes, and trust them.
What is it?
River!
So are we nearly there or what?
Oh, we have to
Oh, right. We've got some things at the edge of the river that could be stepping stones. Have we?
on the river. Yeah.
Yeah. Have we?
Can
You see what's on these things? They're not stepping
Numbers.
stones. There's
Wait.
numbers on them, is there?
Numbers.
So do you think King Dor has put them there
Yeah.
to help us get across the river?
Yeah.
So what will we have to do with the numbers then?
Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Absolutely wonderful. If you've got a number, go and find the same number.
Having scrambled through tunnels, over mountains, across huge holes and ice fields, the children are just a few short steps from their journey's end.
What's she going to do with it now, Daniel?
Put on the river.
Right, so you put it somewhere in the river. Right. Now, who's got number 2? Right, it's ever so heavy, isn't it? Right, who's got number 3?
We need to take children outside, get them to experience the outdoors as much as possible, because this generation of children are the most protected we've ever had. You'd be a bad parent if you let children do what we did as children, go off and experience play in the street. And so now we've got to set up situations where children feel that they're experiencing smells, different kinds of weather outside, and that just can't happen unless we have lots of places to take them outside.